All right, thank you so much for joining us on our 106th episode of Lunch Out Loud Ottawa. My name is Nick Machuski.
I'm Andrew Miller.
Of course, we're the podcast that talks to the people, places, events, and music that make this city the incredible city that it is. And boy, do we have a special guest for you today. Before we get to our very special guest, Mr. Harley Finkelstein, why don't we check this out?
Hey Lunch Out Loud listeners, this is Sarah from Thrifty Kids, and we are a Ottawa local surf rock pop indie band. We couldn't decide what genre we wanted. Anyways, so you can check us out on Facebook at Thrifty Kids page, and we have Bandcamp, and we just released our 3-song EP, and you should check it out. March 12th, we're playing with the Elwins at Safe Odds People Brox. We'll see you there.
Thank you so much, Thrifty Kids. So, of course, they sound a lot like Beach House, and I see big things coming from these guys for sure.
Yeah.
So before we talk to Harley, just let you know that Jen from Foodie Prince will be coming up at halftime, and she's going to be talking about the Red and White event at the Harmony House. Harmony House is one charity that I feel very strongly for, so I think you'll learn a lot, and it's going to be a lot of good stuff and a possible present for Valentine's Day that's coming up.
There you go.
Anyways, thanks so much for finally having us, Harley.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's quite the new space you got here.
Yeah, thanks. The new office is coming along really well. We're now moved into 4 floors here at 150 Elgin Street, but we're going to be taking another 4 floors, so we'll have 8 total floors in the building.
Oh, wow.
And just as you can see from even this room we're in right here, just a really creative space. And a lot of the motivation, or I should say the inspiration for the office, is around kind of a home. And so you'll see there's places where you can relax, like a living room. There's a really cool place like the kitchen where we have 5 full-time chefs cooking delicious food.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of places to work, but there's a lot of nooks and crannies, and depending on how any particular team member likes to work, we think we have a space that can suit his or her needs.
That's awesome.
And now, why do you think you guys were the ones that were able to think this? It's basically, when you boil it down, it's kind of common sense, right? Like you work well where you're comfortable. Why can't we see places
More
like
of
the
that.
government
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
more people going, you know what, we don't need these cubicles with these
I
buzzing lights.
think if I was in the government still and the office looked like this, I'd still be
You'd
in the
still
government.
there, yeah, you'd stay there, sure. To be honest, I think a lot of it has to do with scar tissue. People know what they experience, and so if you've grown up working in a cubicle farm, or you've grown up working in an office space with kind of those fluorescent, terrible lights and white walls, and just kind of uninspired, when you yourself have the opportunity to go build an office, that's sort of your basis of comparison. Whereas for us, I mean, this is our first rodeo, right? I mean, we've had 4 or 5 offices now at Shopify, but most of us, I mean, this is the first thing we've been doing, and the first thing we've done. And so for us, it was just a matter of, okay, what type of office would we love to work in? And as obviously the company grows, we have more resources we can actually build out. We can sort of take those ideas and actually implement them and make them happen.
And then you've got a brand new space to put it into, so you got an open play field, and you align yourself with Andrew Steves, one of the best Reeves, one of the best designers in the city.
And Linebox and those guys are just amazing. So we're really happy with the office. And as you guys walk around later, you can see there's all these amazing little nooks you can go sit in and inspiring places.
Yeah, I'll ask you a couple of things about that in a bit. But
Sure.
first, we'd like to get to know a little bit about you, a little bit about Harley. To be honest, you're one of the easiest guys to research on the internet. Your amazing talks. Seeing you at Creative Mornings, which actually Creative Mornings tonight is at the old Shopify.
Oh, cool. Nice. Awesome.
So
That's
I'll
very
be
cool.
checking that out.
Circle.
But I just want to ask you, out of the hundreds of thousands of kind of achievements that you've had in the past 3 years, you, Shopify, everyone, which one do you think would come to mind first off? Name Newsmaker of the Year 2013 in Ottawa. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
150,000 stores that you're helping, people realize their dreams. hosting the 2015 Best of Business Awards. So that
was a lot of fun. Yeah, so it's funny. I mean, you've listed off a bunch of some really amazing things that I'm really proud of, but I think first and foremost, the best entrepreneurs I know, and my secret to success has been my support system. So probably getting married last year to my wife, it was probably, thank you, was probably the biggest achievement for me.
Yeah.
I have a very different outlook in work life than most people have. Most people sort of talk about work life balance, and you got to balance it, you got to have this and that. Mm-hmm. I've actually never believed that. I always believe that life is sort of this incredible hybrid of all the things that are important to you. And a lot of people kind of say, well, my 9 to 5 is this, and my day job. I've never had that. To me, it's all just life, and I fill my life up with really good things like my amazing wife, my business here at Shopify, my friends, things that I like to do on the weekends, and so having that support system and sort of having this incredible unit that I have at home with Lindsay, my wife, that I think is probably the biggest achievement. And after that, I know we've just built, forget metrics and numbers and revenue and stuff. We've just built an incredible group of people here at Shopify, absolutely. And the amount of talent that we have in these walls, and in our Toronto office, Montreal office, and now in our Waterloo office, I am really, really proud of the aggregate talent pool that we've been able to build here. It is by far the most impressive team that I've ever encountered in my life. I'm completely biased, of course, right. And completely subjective because it's our team here. But I'm most proud of the team we just
you were just named the Employer of the Year,
which is pretty cool.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's still growing like crazy on your website. You have
we got a lot of open positions. Yeah, I mean, for anyone listening wants to check it out, careers.shopify.com. Have a look at who we what type of positions we're hiring for. But we're growing the office here in Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto. Waterloo is growing. But it's the team. I think it's
the culture.
Yeah, the culture, the team, but just the people that we have are just incredible. I'm humbled and completely honored to work with these people every day.
Yeah, awesome. Very great people. And what I was going to say. Favorite restaurants in Ottawa? I know you had a big party at Becta 2.0. You're good friends with Steven.
Yeah, I probably have to say Becta, number one. Steve's one of my closest friends, but more importantly...
Well, good, you can talk to him. We'll get on our show too sometime.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. More importantly, though, he also did give me my own table that says #hustle downstairs here. That is restaurants. So because of the relationship we have, we go to Becta's places very often. But I would say there's kind of this bit of a renaissance happening in sort of the culinary scene here in Ottawa. Last Friday night, I went to the takeover at Absinthe, where amazing,
for $70.
$70. Like you got guys like Mark Lapine and Matthew Carmichael and Trish and just Mary Soul, just some of the most incredible chefs I've ever experienced. Yeah, exactly, making these amazing dishes. There's a lot more kind of foodie scene. The foodie scene here, I think, is completely exploding. Yeah. And it's interesting because on one hand, you see a bunch of these more traditional, dare I say, more archaic restaurants in Ottawa that are shutting down. Yeah. And yet there's other restaurants that are just flourishing.
Every night.
Exactly. I mean, Carmichael's place is amazing. He's opening new restaurants. Becta's place, it's just, there's so much going on. You got the Beechwood Gastropub is incredible now. So there's a lot going on in Ottawa. There's probably 8 or 9 restaurants that we frequent all the time, and supply and demand's amazing. Whale's Bone's amazing. El Camino's amazing. And what I think the difference between our culinary scene versus others, and I was born in Montreal, I grew up in Miami, and I travel to the States very often, so I get the chance to go to some incredible restaurants globally. What I think we have in Ottawa is that we don't necessarily have the quantity, but we certainly have the quality. So there may not be 50 restaurants that I can visit. There may only be 10 or 12, but those 10 or 12 are world class. And I think what you can do in Ottawa that you can't do elsewhere is you can get to know the owners, you can get to know the maitre d's and the chefs and all the people in there. And so when you walk in there, they have your table waiting, and they know what type of things you like. I mean, I walked into El Camino 2 weeks ago, and Jordan, who works with Matthew there, he's like, I got something for you to try. And he just put this congee in front of me, the most amazing congee I've ever had. And I was at a taco restaurant. So that's because we have a relationship with these people. Ottawa still has a bit of a small town feel, and so you can actually do things like that. You can get to know the proprietors and the chefs and build relationships.
Doesn't that make life awesome?
I think it's better than anything else. And so there are 500 killer restaurants in New York City. city, but just because there's so many people there,
You're not 500 times.
That's right, and you're not going to get to know them the same way. And so the intimacy I think that we have here with our culinary scene is incredible. And my wife, as you may know, is also a food blogger, and so we love it. We had Gung Fu Bao, an incredible food cart. They came to my house to cater a party a couple weeks ago, and that was absolutely amazing. Tarek's amazing, but there's all this really cool stuff that's happening, and I've read some doom and gloom articles about our scene in Ottawa. I've been here now. I moved here for law school in 2005, so 10 years. I've never seen it stronger than it is right now in Ottawa. I'm super bullish.
And it's only getting better. It's only getting better. Totally. And for those of you listening, Modern Hostess is
that's right. Got to give a plug to have Modern Hostess.
Absolutely. Also, so our restaurants are awesome. What about some other events that you've been to? Like you've emceed a bunch of events now. What are some events that you think could have more? You want to see more people out, maybe government workers to
go out to.
To go out to.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what Mark Sutcliffe and the guys at the Chambers and OBJ are doing is really important for the city. The Bobs are a really good example of that. Yeah. But some of the events that are happening here are also kind of. You kind of have to dig a little bit. I mean, you mentioned Creative Mornings. Creative Mornings is amazing. I mean, Tina Roth Eisenberg, who's Swiss Miss, is the founder of Creative Mornings, is a friend, and that's not only a global revolution happening all over the world, but even the particular local version of Creative Mornings here in Ottawa is amazing. So there's stuff like that. I host something here at Shopify called Fresh Founders, which is a group of some of the top tech founders in the city. I mean, there's a lot of that happening that isn't necessarily on billboards, and we don't want to be on CTV talking about it necessarily. It's kind of under the radar, but that's actually where I see the most value when it comes to events here in town. Things like Cobra, right? I mean, there are still people that don't know what Cobra is. Cobra is this underground foodie club that is so amazing, and you have them in random people's basements and random people's houses, and the bare naked ladies show up randomly, and you have senators just showing up, and it just
shoot TV shows.
Exactly, shoot TV. It's amazing. But I think Ottawa is a place where some of the coolest parts about Ottawa aren't necessarily obvious. Whereas in other cities, because of just the amount of people, you kind of have this force multiplier that if anything cool happens, everyone hears about it. In Ottawa, it's kind of under the covers a bit more. And one of the reasons why I'm involved with the church project, a couple of us just bought a church on Beechwood, and I'm a
cool.
small investor in that, is to kind of do more of these sort of events.
Right off of Beechwood?
Yeah.
St. Charles?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact name of it.
No way.
But yeah, so a bunch of us got together, and again, I'm a small partner in that. But part of the reason why I love this sort of stuff is I think Ottawa has an opportunity to do some really great things, and that will likely be a farmer's market we're going to do there with some retail and residential, and there's just a lot going on. But
St. Charles.
Fortunately, St. Charles, but fortunately or unfortunately, it isn't necessarily as obvious as it would be in other cities. You kind of have to dig a little bit to find the gold in Ottawa.
Do you find that you were probably, when you were out traveling the world, spreading the news of Shopify 5 years ago versus now, do you find yourself still defending Ottawa or showing people where Ottawa is? Because I know whenever I used to travel to the States,
nobody knows
I live in the capital. First off, nobody in the States
Toronto.
Every single time. Do you think you're starting to put Ottawa on the map where people are like, yeah, man, I want to do business in Ottawa. I want to come to Ottawa. Like, I want to... You know what? I'm going to fly out to meet with you instead of just doing a Skype call with you because I want to try out.
I mean, it's certainly become easier, partially because Ottawa is just becoming a better city and it's becoming a more interesting city, but also because Shopify is a larger brand. So obviously people are willing to travel to visit us, where a couple of years ago we had to kind of go to them. In terms of defending Ottawa, I don't feel like I ever needed to defend Ottawa necessarily. I mean, people know that I'm not from here, but people know that I actually love this city. I consider myself part of the city and a very core part of the city today. I think it's getting better. I think that Ottawa is getting louder from a global perspective. So, what Mark Monahan is doing with Blues Fest is getting worldwide recognition. I think what the Terry Matthews and his crew has done in Canada over the years and telecom industry, has certainly put us on the map. Shopify obviously helps with that, but in general, it's sort of all these things together are creating this amazing flywheel. And I think the flywheel is now at a speed that it's never been at in the past. And so, people are moving to Ottawa for Shopify and other reasons all the time, and I think that's amazing. But it's, anyone that isn't sure about Ottawa, come visit us. Maybe not come in February, maybe come in April or May or in the fall. But honestly, even in the wintertime, we ski at Trumbull every weekend with some of the best skiing, in Eastern North America. Go snowshoe in Gatineau Park, check that place out. There's a lot going on here. We have a bit of As an attitude, as a community, we do need to be a little bit more bullish, a little bit more loud, a little prouder about what happens here. Maybe that's the American in me. I'm a little bit more bullish and a little bit more aggressive when I say things. I believe in doing things and telling people. I think as a city we have to do a better job.